Hello, we are live. Let me make sure this is now going on Instagram as well. And we will there we go. All right. I love it. Hold on. Ta-da! Look at that. All the things are in play. Hello. So now that we are in both places, or that I am actually in three places right now. Welcome to the very first live of 2024. It has been a couple weeks since I have been on a live. The end of the year took some downtime. And so now I am jumping back in, and is all sorts of good things coming. I have lots to share with you, and I will get into those updates in just a bit. So, what I am jumping on here to talk to you about today is that this is the first episode, like I said, of 2024, and this is the first official, if you will, episode or version or whatever, is the right word for that, of the Manifesting Me show. I've actually named this show. It's not just a random weekly live anymore. It is something much, I guess, up-leveled or just a new version. And I'm trying to play with things on my screen as you're seeing this. So, or as I am talking, because the sizes are wonky. But yes, I'm excited. That is one of the bits of info that I will be getting into. And then getting right into it, then that's the first thing. And next is the topic for today. Today's topic is about my belief or my thinking, if you will, that it is time to ditch the new year, new me way of thinking, or that phrase or that terminology, and replace it with something more empowering, as far as I'm concerned, the way I see it. And of course, I think it's better. And I'm going to get into why I think all of these things. So if you are new, hello, I'm Patty. I am the manifestation mentor here at Blue Moon Manifestations. And overall, I take you from creating your vision board to living your vision board. And without giving too much away, I'm going to stop there at that intro and dive into a little bit more about what that means in just a bit. So I do want to be mindful of the people who are here for this topic specifically, of replacing new year, new me, and what to replace it with. And before I tell you or provide some suggestions, because I am definitely not here to tell you that you have to replace it with any of these things, just my points of view, my experiences, and some recommendations, which may actually spark some ideas for you, or help you narrow it down, or give you simply a new way of looking at things, which is super cool. Because that's how you actually start to identify the things that work for you when you personalize them. And let's see. I'm trying to see. I'll see if that shows up so I can see comments as they come across. And if you're watching this on the replay, please let me know. Type in hashtag replay wherever you happen to be watching this. And let me know where you're watching from and participate along in the conversations. And if you happen to be listening to this on the podcast, which is something that I will be touching on as well, send me an email or go to any of the platforms and let me know your thoughts, your experiences, all the things. But I'm going to get into that again a little bit later. Why I think it's time, or why it's important why I think it's important to ditch the new year, new me way of thinking. I think it's important because, to me, new year, new me feels a bit dismissive. And I came to this realization, or I kind of sorted this out for myself, because of me intentionally being very mindful of the words that I use, what meanings they actually have for me, if any, or if I was just kind of going along with the flow and using terms without really knowing what they mean to me. And so this has been a process, it's been ongoing. But as I fine tune it, I come across these things. And if you've been around Blue Moon Manifestations for a while, I have done other lives in the past or made other posts and shared things about, new year, new me not resonating with me. And so this is where I've come to from that. So it's not a new concept, but now I'm like, okay, why didn't it resonate with me? Why do I think it's not a good idea? So I've been diving into that and being much more intentional about the words that I use, what the meanings are, and identifying what that means for me. So new year, new me, to me feels dismissive. And it feels dismissive of everything that has come before, right? Everything that I or you or all of us, depending on how it's used, have experienced before. It dismisses both all of the accomplishments and the disappointments or frustrations or failures, which have all cumulatively contributed to becoming who we are and who we want to become, right? So it feels like new year, new me. I'm getting rid of all that or not even taking that into consideration. At least that's how, like I said, it started to feel for me. And new year, new me is also quite vague. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you have to have a very specific anything, specific intentions. I do think it's important to know and develop and get clearer if we're not very clear on the dreams and desires that we have. But I'm not here to say you need to know all the details and all the specifics because I'm not that person. But new year, new me is vague. That is like open-ended to all of the aspects of our life, all of the aspects of our career, everything that is part of, oops, there goes my phone sliding down. Everything that is part of our world, right? So it's very vague and it feels dismissive to me. So what to replace it with? That's really the crux of that, right? And so if we're saying, or I'm saying to you, I think it's time to ditch the new year, new me way of thinking because it doesn't feel good for the reasons that I've just shared. How about something along the lines of, and you shoot back your ideas to me if you come up with any, like I said, live or on the replay or on email, new year, real me or authentic me. Because a lot of times, aren't we just trying to keep up with other people or comparing ourselves or trying to imitate other people? And yes, there's things to be said for imitation is the best form of flattery and all that. But a lot of times, I think when we get to that point where it's new year, new me, if that's what we were saying before, because we're really not being our authentic selves, right? So what about if we put a little bit of specificity on what that means? It's like new year, real me, authentic me, especially if you're in a place where you need to identify and actually get clear on who the real you is. So many times I think we get so caught up in all of the external stuff and following other people's dreams or expectations of how we should be, how we should live our lives, what it should look like, that a lot of the times we have to really dig deep and get to know and discover that real us, that real me. So new me, real me, new year, real me. How about new year, best me? Because that is an ongoing evolution, the continual best version of yourself. I have a whatever, I don't know, a mantra, a prayer, something that I say regularly, and I write it sometimes in my journal as well, is like, help me to step into the best version of me today. because we're always changing. And the best version of me does not discount all of the stuff that has contributed to us realizing and getting clear on and guidance on what that best version of me or of you, us is. So new year, best me, because that just keeps upping the game, right? We just continue to become the next best version of us. How about new year healing me or healed me? I don't think we're ever completely done healing, but maybe some aspects definitely, have improved. So new year healing me. This is part of that process of, getting to the crux of things. What is making us unhappy? What are we trying to continually striving externally for versus that we're trying to fill an internal need with, right? So new year healing me. And my personal favorite, and the last one that I'm going to share with you is new year manifesting me. If you have been around Blue Moon Manifestations, you have heard me play with this phrase for at least a couple of years now. I have the note paper where I wrote that down for the first time, but it's been at least a couple years, 2-3 years. And manifesting me, I have played with this idea. I have products that I've named that, like manifesting me with the moon, manifesting me. I have a digital journal that incorporates that. I use the hashtag all of the time, manifesting me. And so with this step back that I took at the end of the year last year, kind of not trying to force getting things done and actually allowing myself to play and get some clarity on these things that I talk about, the things that I believe in. And so manifesting me is, of course, my favorite replacement. But what I mean and what manifesting me has come to signify or represent, or what it means to me, is that we are always evolving and we are always manifesting. And the trick is to do these things intentionally, to make the changes in ourselves and in our circumstances intentionally, and continually step into that becoming the best version of me. And it incorporates all these things that I just talked about in the other suggestions. Manifesting me. What is the real me? What is the authentic me? Manifesting me, the best me. So continually stepping in to that best version of me. And it also eliminates, at least the way I see it and how it feels to me, it eliminates the comparison. It eliminates wanting to be like that person, because I am manifesting me. And that looks completely different, maybe from day to day, from year to year, from season to season. And it makes the focus about me. And it also makes the focus about you. So when I got this culmination of, this thought process that I was having about naming the show, giving it that up-leveled feel that way, and what to call it, because I didn't want to call it the exact same thing that the podcast is called, which is the Rockstar Manifestors podcast, because the podcast will include these shows, but it has its own unique episodes that are strictly on the podcast that are not going to be in live form here. So I didn't want to duplicate that. And manifesting me just it makes it all about ourselves. So I can say I have the Manifesting Me show where I talk about manifesting me and help you to manifest yourself. And then you guys can say, hey, I'm learning about manifesting me, how to manifest me on the Manifesting Me show, right? That Patty shares. So it makes it all about us when we each individually say that phrase or use that phrase. And so that was kind of like this, moment, right? Like, Oh my gosh. Because I struggled with how to say that because I don't want you guys to feel like you have to manifest a version of me, Patty Diaz. I want you all, every single one of us, to manifest our unique individual version of me. And so my Manifesting Me show will help you do that. And then when you say that, I'm manifesting me. I'm learning how to do that uh, through or on the Manifesting Me show. So that, and I know that things will continue to evolve and I'll play around with words because I do it all the time. But that right now for me feels genuine, authentic, and like, thank you, past version of me who doodled those words on a sheet of paper. Manifesting me. I had no idea what that would, turn into or what that meant. And I have a sense now that it will continue to grow. It will continue to evolve. And I've realized that by giving it the space to do that, by letting go of trying to force what that means, and just continuing to get curious and experience the evolution of that. And I have this sense that it will continue to do that. And I don't know to what end or where it will lead, but that's actually become the fun part now. Like, I don't know, but let's see. Let me just keep doing my thing. And so that is this evolution of Manifesting Me. That is now the name of this show, which is the first time that this show has been called anything other than the weekly live, my weekly live, the regular live, which there was nothing wrong with that. It was simply part of the process of getting here. So now this is officially the Manifesting Me show. And before I get into some things that are coming up, also I wanted to include some options if there are things you do want to change, right? So Manifesting Me or New Year Manifesting Me, New Year Authentic Me, whatever resonates with you. If there are things you do want to change and you want to use this same like New Year, New Something format, here are some suggestions for things that I think are appropriate to say, hey, I want a new version of this, and maybe wipe the slate clean or start fresh with something else. How about new year, new mindset? Because if our previous mindset or current mindset is not working, is not benefiting us, then a new mindset, a new way of thinking will be beneficial. So if you want something to replace, how about new year, new mindset? New year, new energy. Because energy, we're all energy, and our energy attracts like energy. So in those moments, or if there's areas or aspects of your life or yourself or your circle or whatever that you are not digging, you're not fond of them, or you simply want to change them for whatever reason, new year, new energy. New energy is what is going to start. That's going to be the precipice. I don't think that's the right word. The thing that starts the changes, the energy, because that is what is attracting, the things into our life, to ourselves. Or how about new year, new habits? That's fabulous, because if our old habits or current habits were not or do not contribute to helping us or moving us in the direction of what we want, then ditch those damn habits and replace them with beneficial habits, with improved habits, right? So those are things that I think are great if you do want to change them or replace them, because that still doesn't take away from our essence and what we've experienced, but it says, yes, this part is not working. This aspect, my mindset, my energy, my habits, those are not currently working in my favor. So changing those will work in my favor, will align me with the things that I want in my life or how I want to feel or all of those things. So that is just my 2 cents on that part of it. Do you want to change something? Let's think about changing the mindset. our energy and our habits to create this me that we're manifesting. See, I'm just like, it just all interweaves together in like this awesome web of manifesting me and what that looks like and feels like. So that is what I have for you guys today. So instead of new year, new me, ultimately I came up with new year manifesting me, but new year, real me, new year, authentic me, new year, fun me, something that moves you forward, but doesn't dismiss or replace the experiences that have made you who you are. Because those experiences are also what have made you realize what it is you want to change and why, or who it is that you want to become, what version of you, this rock star version of you that you want to become, is a result. That clarity or those ideas are a result of what you have experienced and what has happened in your life, the good, the bad, the indifferent, the people, the places. So I wouldn't want to replace that and, ditch it and have it not be a part of the story, really. I think it's important to have all of that be part of the story. And then if there are things you want to replace, new year, new mindset, new year, new energy, new year, new habits. And so that's it for the actual topic. I do have just a bit of tidbit for you, a bit of tidbit. That's a little bit weird. Bit, apparently. So some information. This show, which is now the Manifesting Me show, is going to, again, become a podcast episode on the Rockstar Manifestors podcast. So that will be the weekly show. Now, on the podcast, I will also be sharing a quarterly, I'm doing a series that is the lunar year series, where I tie the lunar cycle to an entire year. I started that last year in the spring, and the next episode is going to be the wrap up of the series, but it's actually the start of the new cycle. So because it's going to be the winter season, which we're in now, is associated with the new moon phase of the lunar cycle. So those episodes will be strictly on the podcast. I am also bringing back to the podcast my lunar lessons episodes, which will be monthly, and they will talk about the lunar lessons I have learned through the lunar cycle. And this will help tie in the zodiac for the lunar cycle and the phases of the moon and all that. And really what I talk about on the lives and the podcast is also very closely, what's the word? Not informed, but guided by the lunar cycle. Because today, on the day that this live is airing, which is January 3rd of 2024, is the third quarter moon. We've hit the third quarter moon phase, and this phase is about dreaming a new way of being, right? The new moon is coming up. The next new moon is coming up soon in about a week. And so this is the phase, like, now that I've learned all these things, or I've experienced these things, or had these lessons or these revelations, and what do I want the next intention to be? What's a new way of being that I can start to imagine with? So like, this is a great time to make vision boards because it's creative and dreamy and helping you visualize and get ideas about what you want life to look like. And so that's why I'm sharing this episode with you about New Year Manifesting Me. What does that look like? What can that look like? And to spark that imagination and that thought process and that creativity of what can it look like? What can it feel like? So I may not necessarily talk about the moon cycle or the moon phase every time, but it will be, it's what helped me name my business. It's part of what has really helped in my transformation and evolution. So it's very closely tied to what's going on, even if I don't always mention it. So that being said, next week's episode is going to be the difference between goals and intentions and why I believe they're better than resolutions. And next week is going to be January 10th. So you're like, well, Patty, everyone's already talked about resolutions and all these things. Well, the new moon is going to be the day after the next show. So that's where we're, so tying that to intentions and about how it's the winter season is the new moon phase of the year. And this winter season is 3 months long. So that's how I incorporate that, right? So I follow the energies and the zodiac and all that. So I may talk about them, from time to time specifically, but just know that that is what I have found really works and what resonates and what feels natural. And it ties in to what we're experiencing anyway. So next week is the difference between goals and intentions and why I believe they are better than resolutions. Again, from my experience, and I have talked a bit about that before too, but I'm tying that into, it will be the Capricorn new moon, and I'll talk a bit about that. And so if you're not on my email list yet, I invite you to join my email list. And if you're watching this on Instagram, you can head to my bio and get the link, because getting on my email list will give you my Manifesting Songs playlist. But that's also the best way to learn about what's happening, because every month I have a free event. It's either a challenge or a free class or a workshop. And I host that in 2 ways. If it's a live workshop, like we're interacting and I'm teaching or sharing something, or it's a challenge, then that is available inside of the Moon Manifesting Rockstars Facebook group, or you can register to join in on Zoom if Facebook is not your thing. So getting my emails will let you know when they're coming up, and where you always find which way to register or to attend based on your preference. And also, what else did it have there? So yes, you can access the free event even if you're not on Facebook. And with that being said, my email list is the best way to get on that. So if you're listening on the podcast, there is going to be a link somewhere that you can get the Manifesting Songs playlist. That will get you on my email list and you will get all the information. There's a weekly newsletter that I send out. And then if anything else important comes up, like events or anything along those lines. And I think that's it. The only thing that I have left is to ask you to share this out if you feel that you enjoy this type of information or this content. And if you know someone who you think will enjoy it or benefit from it, share it out. Tag them, share it, wherever you happen to be watching or listening to this. And I will see you next week for the newly named Manifesting Me show. And we'll be talking about the difference between goals and intentions and why I believe they're better than resolutions. And just know that, you're not late. You're not late on setting your intentions or goals, or even if you do choose to work with resolutions for the year. It's not one and done on January 1st. You haven't missed the boat. You can jump in the lunar cycle at any time. You can start making changes at any time. So that is what I am here to talk to you about and to share with you as you learn how to manifest you, and I share my process and also what I've learned as I manifest me as well. So thank you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.